Hey everyone, welcome to Shunya One, episode 195. This is it's a big milestone episode for us. It's almost 200 episodes so far, but 195 is also going to be very, very interesting, like the ones we've had before. I'm in conversation with Saurabh Agarwal, who's the founder and CTO of ReshaMandi. Now, ReshaMandi is another unique startup in India. I think over the past 2.5 years, they've actually transformed a lot of the supply chain and ecosystem around weaving and fibers, and basically taking products which are retail products in terms of woven retail products like saris and other clothes, and solving for the entire supply chain behind that. It's a very, very interesting company, unique story again, and of course, so many elements at play in terms of what they are building and the various components that they have. Very interesting conversation. But stay tuned for that just after this break.
Hey everyone, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. We have a special announcement introducing Club Paisa Vaisa, where you get episodes of Paisa Vaisa 3 days before release, bonus and ad-free content, and access to the full show archive. So get your yearly membership today for only rupees 699. Log on to club.ivmpodcast.com/paisavaisa. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus, Meghnad and Noel talk about NASA's warning against China's probable claiming of the moon and the bizarre case of a man relieving himself on an airplane. On the Wire Talks, Siddharth is joined by Prakash Magdoom, former director of the National Film Archives of India and author. He shares what intrigued him about Mahatma Gandhi and what made him write the book The Mahatma on Celluloid. On All Things Policy, host Soumya Prabhakar is in conversation with Aditi Mutatkar, Indian badminton player and silver medalist at the Commonwealth Games. They talk about sports in India, systematic hurdles, government schemes and much more. On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth explains what Reset Hour is and how to incorporate it in your routine. And on Pop Rap, Nikhil, Snehil, Abbas and Jalasmi suggest what should be Bollywood's resolution for 2023. New episode out on the IVM Pop channel. Once again, do not forget to visit our merch store on ivmpodcast.com. We have some super cool and exciting stuff over there for you and your loved ones. Follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. If you like our shows, then do spread the word. You know, it really helps us a lot. And of course, do not forget to rate and review our shows wherever you are listening to them. You can also find all our video shows on youtube.com/IVM Podcasts. And finally, we would like to thank our sponsors this week, Capgemini and HDFC Mutual Fund. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Hi Saurabh, welcome to Shunya One. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks so much for joining us as our guest today. I'm really keen to understand more about the business, the product, everything that ReshaMandi is. But before we get into that, just to introduce yourself to everyone listening to us today, could you tell us a little bit about your own personal journey as an entrepreneur so far?
Absolutely. I'm the founder and CTO at ReshaMandi, right? And my journey starts back in what should I say, 1998, when Mayank and me were together in school. So he's my other founder. So we are school friends. That is where the journey of ReshaMandi and my journey as a technologist also started. So 2006, I passed out of college, did my engineering, joined various companies, services companies, then product companies. And before this, in 2013, I did my own startup in consulting, which was later acquired. Last 5 years, not last 5 years, 2016 onwards till 2020, before doing ReshaMandi, I was in US, Cisco US, building network management softwares, accumulating patents and doing all that deep tech work. And 2020 is when Mayank called me again. If I remember him, I obviously remembered him, and we started talking. He wanted somebody to get on the tech side, and I wanted somebody who knows sales. So it was a natural mix, who knows business. So both of us collaborated, and that's how ReshaMandi was born.
Nice. And everything you shared again, Mayank, your co-founder, both of you sort of having these complementary skill sets. Uh, what made you sort of focus on this particular domain? Like, what is the backstory of, let's say, why you wanted to solve for like you put it, I think what the goal of Reshamandi, which is like solving for everything, from organic fiber to retail. What made you focus on this sort of a sector?
So this sector, I think this is more to do with Mayank, but essentially he's from NIFT. He's the fashion guy. He's the textile guy, and all over his career, he has seen that natural fibers in India have been downplayed, right? And the cost of the end product is not realized by the other stakeholders. So the person who's making it in the villages or in the weaving clusters and everything else, so you get a sari for 50,000 bucks, but does that sari actually translate into 50,000 bucks of value? And does the weaver actually derive that much? Answer is no. So, and during his college days and other things, he has seen that the supply chain is broken. So he wanted to solve for the supply chain problems. And obviously he knew that technology is the only way to solve for this problem, connecting directly these suppliers and buyers. Yeah, right. So that is where the idea was born. Essentially, we did not uh, we started with silk, right? So we are called the silk guys now, but yeah, so we started with silk. But originally itself, like first 6 months when we were debating about the idea and everything else around it before incorporating Reshamandi, right? So we had thought about cotton, jute, wool. We wanted to stay in natural fiber space. And then we said, okay, let's start with silk and look at the value chain vertically, and then expand horizontally into different categories like cotton, wool, jute. So, and all that is ongoing right now as well.
Wow. And again, in this journey, again, maybe just to understand this, business a little bit more, before we get into platform. What was the, like, state of the art at the time, or what was the, like you said, obviously the value wasn't getting translated to, the weavers and the people who are the main stakeholders. But from a challenge standpoint, was it just that one side you were trying to uplift, or was it also on the retail side? You must have looked at opportunity also, right, from a consumer standpoint. So what was the view then that you sort of had an
So
insight on?
the view still remains the same. The value at the consumer side is nobody needs to pay 50,000 for a Kanjivaram sari. It should be lesser. It should be more affordable, right? Clothing should be more affordable. The natural fibers, linen need not be that expensive. It should be cheaper, right? That's also a natural fiber. So the end goal was to reduce the rates for consumers at the retail end. Although we do that, we do not erode the value creation at the each leg below the supply chain, right? So there are
Right.
farmers, there are then yarn manufacturers. Farmers produce these raw materials, cotton, raw cotton, or silk cocoons, right? And then there are yarn manufacturers who draw out yarns from it. And then there are these weavers and mills who make fabrics. Sari is a special case where fabric is also drapable, right? And then there are apparel manufacturers who make your shirts, pants, jeans, and everything else, all your apparel, which gets sold to the retailer. Now all of this supply chain, it starts from your farm, right? So we looked at the farm going all the way to the retail. If we if the end produce or the end product is costing 150 rupees, right, and we can bring it down to 100 and still make sure that all the five stakeholders get 20 each or 10 each or whatever their share of wallet is, I think then it's a win-win situation. The consumer gets lesser price while the stakeholders make equal or more money. That's the idea.
Got it. And when you say stakeholder, it's everyone today you cater to. Was this always the plan again, day one? Like you said, okay, I have to go full stack across the entire supply chain. And
Yes.
assuming at one end it is the farmer again, but what is the other end? Do you I don't think you sell directly to consumers, or are you doing that also today?
So today we are selling directly to consumers as well. Directly, we have a D2C brand under our Resha Weaves label. We have launched Ramya as a sari collection and other things. But to answer your first question, that was always the plan. So when we were initially thinking about this and how to do and what to build, right, we always thought that this has to be an ecosystem. There is no way without an ecosystem we can work in this market, right? And ecosystem means it has to be end to end connected, right? And it has to provide value, or it has to provide things to the stakeholders holistically. So I can not come to a stakeholder and tell him that I will only sell things to you. Then you are solving half the problem for him. You will not get 100% wallet share from him, right? So what you have to do is you have to sell things to him, you have to buy things from him, you have to improve his productivity, you have to give him means, you have to give him capital to grow his business. So all those things together make that ecosystem for one stakeholder. Now all of the, if you have to do buying selling both with the stakeholder, right? So essentially you need at the other end also the stakeholder who can do similar things with you. For example, if I'm
Right.
selling to farmers, right, if I'm only solving for you have produced something, I'll buy it from you and I'll do the forward linkage, right? That's half the problem solved for him. The other problem for him is he needs to put up more sheds, he needs tractors, he needs other things, he needs capex loans, he needs loans for improving his yield. The other thing is he needs scientific advisories, he needs to know how to produce better, how to improve the quality. So those are the value adds, right? The third thing is if he wants to get quality inputs, am I supplying those? If I'm doing all that ecosystem play with one stakeholder, that means I'm solving everything for him. It's like a mall. You don't need to go into 10 shops to dress
Yeah.
yourself up. You go into a mall, you get everything there. And that's what everybody likes. Supermarkets, everybody likes them because you get everything under one shop, right? So that's the play, and it was originally designed like that.
So that brings me to the larger question around, a lot of startups, a lot of any business venture sort of looks at, okay, what can I do uniquely better? And of course, they have to build your team like that. You have to build your skill sets like that. A lot of this, I know, is solved with technology, and the infusion of technology in these otherwise very non-tech sectors, like for example what you just explained. uh, so then again, when you thought of it from day one, I know everyone has that grand vision, but as you went along you must have had to acquire a lot of these new understandings of how the B2B market is in this sector. How, like you said yourself, scientific advisory means you have to build that sort of scientific background and team, and there's so much to do, right? So tell us a little bit about all these various skills and, I would say, domain knowledge that you had to acquire and your team hence has today.
You have rightly put it that there was a grander plan. It's always grand, right? And it starts there, but you have to slice it, dice it, and make it digestible, chewable, right? So that's what we also did. First of all, we categorize that, okay, these are the categories in India. There is silk, cotton, wool, jute, linen. These are the categories, fiber categories. So we'll start with silk. Now we'll start with silk. That is one vertical we got, one category we got. Now we said, okay, in silk uh, there is a leg of farmers which are connected to your yarn manufacturers. Then there is a leg of yarn manufacturers connected to your mills. That is the second leg. And then the third leg is the finished products which consumers buy. And then the fourth leg is directly selling to the consumers. So we broke down the story into these four legs, right? Now what we did was, in silk we started our farm business first. So June 2020 we launched our first procurement center, come mandi for farmers in Bangalore, in
Right.
suburbs of Bangalore, in Sarjapur. So we started from there, we started from farms, buying the produce from farmers, right? And then as we learned about farmers, that okay, they need inputs, now they need assistance, capital assistance, or they need technology assistance, we kept building for that stakeholder. So there was a team set up only for farms, right, to for doing initially doing output linkage, then doing input linkage to farmers, then doing advisory for farmers, and correspondingly the whole ecosystem for farmers was built, around that.
Nice.
So we started with that. Then 3 or 4 months down the line, we were already researching and experimenting in the yarn sector. So we started with silk yarns. Then after 3 months down the line, we started with that. We started experimenting with your yarn manufacturers and your weavers. Your weavers are in Banaras, they are in Kanjipuram, they are in Dharmavaram, Salem, all over India, right? India weaves across the country. You have a different weave in every state or city in India. So Jaipur, otherwise, right? So we started exploring these clusters and connecting the silk producing hubs in India, which is Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu, to these clusters. So we set up a dedicated team, dedicated expertise, people who had expertise in yarn and how the quality assessment of yarns work and everything else around it. So we set up that team and started the yarn business. Now once we did that and there was initial traction and we knew okay how this is working, automatically it showed us that weavers were telling us, okay, you are giving us yarn, why don't you buy saris also from us? You're giving us this yarn,
Right.
why don't you buy fabric from us? Right. And that gave birth to your weaves business for us. So we started Resha Weaves 6 to 7 months down the line, and we said this is where we will trade finished commodities. Now for that again we started building a different team, because the geographies are different, expertise is different. Somebody needs to source from these weavers and then mills and sell it to retailers. So you need somebody to go to these retail customers in Chickpet in Bangalore, or Dadar in Mumbai, or Chandni Chowk in Delhi. So somebody needs to go there, show our catalog on our mobile app, generate interest that okay, you can source from us. We are here. We give you the latest designs. We have our research designs with us. So that is how the weaves business came into picture. Now once we did weaves business, we for margin and everything else, we realized okay, now we have in-house expertise, we have the full supply chain. I can give you a sari with a QR code which
Mm.
can tell you that okay, this weaver made this sari, the yarn came from this manufacturer, and the yarn that was produced was from the produce that these 10 farmers did. The complete traceability on the supply chain I can give. So with that value proposition, we started Resha Weaves direct to consumer brand of our own. So it's a journey. You slice it, dice it,
Right.
and then later on, 3 months, every 3 months or 4 months, we kept adding new businesses and new categories. So today we play in these four farms, yarns, weaves, and lifestyle business. Then we were earlier in silk. Now we are in cotton. We are very soon launching jute and wool. Right. So we'll be supporting those stakeholders as well. And then later on, we realized there is a capital need. So like 8 months back, we started our Mudra division, which is Resha Mudra, for capital assistance to this supply chain, right? Buy now, pay later, invoice discounting, loans, and everything else. So we started that capital arm. So that's how it progressed. Now there is way forward as well, because we have not touched international waters. So we have done
Right.
something, but not
Yeah.
meaningful. So that is where we are going next.
No, wonderful, and thank you for that. Expansive sort of understanding of the sector. I think a lot of folks listening, usually we talk, and try to see, again, it's always a tech first sort of approach, but I think given the kind of unique business you are in, you had to solve for all of these incrementally. So it while the grand vision has been playing out, these are the various domains you guys have had to become knowledgeable in. So I'd like to understand a little bit about also the tech and the platform. And I know that there's a lot more uh, given your role. I think the technology platform forms this underlayer of everything that you do today. But before we dive into that, I'm going to take a quick break for everyone listening and come back and talk some more.
I have a very funny story. Can I say it? Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
Hi, I'm Shweta. I'm Navya's mother.
I am Navya's nanny. My name is Jaya Bachchan.
I got nothing over here, guys.
It's a big day for me. Okay, start. What the hell?
I was saying something very nice and empowering, and you just interrupted me.
Don't complain. Don't explain. Never explain.
Let me say it.
I have my little secrets. Hello, madam. How are you? I got your number. I told you don't get me started. Mom. When you want to do money pinching, you're also very good. I've seen you. I've noticed. I finished these many books. You're still on your first book. I finished so many books. I'm like, what the hell?
Leave me alone.
Definition of love has changed today. I'm too old for all this. Navya, there's a wonderful lake. Go and jump into
And
it.
drown
and
in
drown.
it. And she does.
Oh my god, stop!
What are you saying?
What the hell? It's important to have friends.
My best friends have been Navya and Shweta.
Aww. I have a problem saying no.
You better learn. It's the
the
best,
best word.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
Okay.
What the hell?
What the hell, Navya? You're saying this podcast is called What the Hell, Navya? I have at least 3 What the Hell, Navya episodes in a day.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Saurabh, you shared the journey of ReshaMandi so far and the various, I would say, aspects of your unique business sector that you today have to are solving for as a company, as a platform. But tell us a little bit about the actual underlying tech platform that you all have built and how that helps sort of enable this whole ecosystem, like you were saying.
Sure. So, a lot of people ask me why Saurabh, you moved from US deep tech and then came into this supply chain. So I tell them there were only two motivators for me. It is important in this question. I think there are only two motivators. One was technology will. I realized technology will play a huge role, enormous role in this supply chain because it is technology starved already, right? So building technology was one motivator for me. The second motivator was that the market that we were going after was large enough. It was a huge business to be made, right? So with those two motivators, I landed back in my India in Bangalore. And in technology space, how we have done it is obviously as the business progressed, we have built the platform accordingly, right? We cannot build everything in one shot, so we slice dice that as well. So how to look, the way to look at Resha Mandi digitally is we have built the digital highway for the natural fiber ecosystem. Now, by that, what I mean is we have one platform, one app for all our stakeholders for commerce. So what we have done is there is a super app called ReshaMandi. You download it. If you are a farmer, you log in. You are a yarn manufacturer, you can also log in. You can buy, you can sell. If you're a farmer, you will log in. You will see a marketplace where you can buy your inputs. Now with Mudra coming in, you can get capital assistance. You can apply for loan over there. So your whole ecosystem for each stakeholder is present in the app. So that's what we have built. So yarn
Got it.
manufacturer, similarly, he can procure raw material from us. He can sell or list his finished goods with us. Same is with weavers, mills. For retailers, it's the same thing. We show them categories just like a marketplace, just like Flipkart, right? They see, but it is business to business platform. So there are certain things like GST and other things, but they see the whole catalog and everything. They can place orders, and that's where the whole machinery gets into motion, right? So that is the app, or that is what we have built for the consumers. Now all this is powered by my backbone infrastructure that we have built here in Reshamandi, the whole ERP plus platform, as we call it, which provides, or which it's the backend which powers my mobile app and my operations in the company. So all the weighing that happens, all the listings that happen, or my ground staff interacts with this platform essentially, right? Now below this platform sits my other technology interventions that we have done, like we
Right.
have done IoT devices for farm. So there is a dedicated team of hardware engineers and everything else where we are doing IoT device for farm, as well as the rearing shed in silk. There is a dedicated team which sits for AI/ML. We are doing scientific grading of cocoons today. So food has been
Wow.
always graded, right? Food,
Okay.
you always see USDA approved, or you will say FICI
Yeah. Yeah.
approved, and all those things, right? Food has always been a topic of discussion and consciousness, where you test via various mechanisms, right? If it is if it has gone bad, or what is the quality of the food. But nobody was doing this for silk cocoons, right? So we put together a team of computer vision engineers who built this algorithm, where by looking at cocoons, right, with a simple photograph or video of cocoons, we can tell that this is the grade and this is the rate it will fetch. It is scientifically done. It is we have a patent for that as well. So we did that for the farm level, right? Now this is, and there are other things,
Wow.
like payment integrations, which are very critical in this supply chain. You will be amazed at how happy a farmer's wife is when there is money credited in her account online. Earlier, what used to happen is farmer will go travel to Ramnagar Mandi to sell his produce. He'll get cash, right? And he'll come back. On
Yeah.
the way back 200 kilometers. Either he'll spend it on booze, or he'll stay somewhere. He'll do all those things. And the
Yeah.
cash, while he
Mm.
comes back, he'll be shortchanged. That's one another problem. But while he comes back, it's cash, right? And the main household owner, the lady of the house, gets lesser than what was expected. But now with Resha Mandi, the farmer sells it to us. He's listed. He gets a SMS: your money will come in these many days, or it will be credited in the evening, and directly in the bank account it is transferred. Right? There is no cash involved anywhere in the supply chain. So we don't work on cash. People say that agrees cash. What do you call it? Cash extensive, but I think farmers and everybody is making an effort to move to digital means. If there are players who are able to support them, that transition will be faster. So all that ecosystem we have built. I can go on
Wow.
and
I
on, but
mean,
I'll stop there.
yeah, no, I mean, I think this is also this again shows, right? It's not just technology, it's processes, it's behavior change that you're also bringing about in each of the stakeholders that you are, you're enabling. So it's, I think it goes a long way. And you mentioned a few things which, of course, again, sound like buzzwords, but they're, I would say, critical to, solving the problem. Things like IoT, things like AI and computer vision. These are all again very deep tech, like you mentioned in your own personal background. So obviously, it makes sense that they have found a home in this sector, and for right reasons. Not just for sake of it, I guess. So you guys, you must. What's the state of the art you all are pushing over there? I know you gave the cocoon example, but is there anything else?
Sure, sure. So one thing is that I think it is very what you said was very right. That you have to bring value, right? I can develop IoT, I can develop AI ML, I can do everything. Everybody is talking about AI ML, but nobody is talking
Yeah,
about the
yeah,
use cases it is solving.
yeah,
Right. So unless the use case is meaningful enough and brings value to your stakeholder, there is no point of you building technology. That's what I believe as a technology owner, that we have to solve for use cases. We just don't build things which are flashy, but they don't solve anything. Right. So
yeah, yeah.
in similar things, and that's where some people ask me, how did you make sure that there is adoption in farmers? Right. I simply tell them, if you build value for them, they will adopt. Now, one
Nice.
of the values that we have built for farmers, a very specific example, is showing mandi rates. Earlier, farmers will have WhatsApp groups, Facebook pages, and everything. They will call up somebody before going to Ramnagar. What is the trending rate today? Today, on their app, just like money control, they see the rates
Oh wow.
of
Okay.
right. So, and we show them historical rates, trends, and everything. And that's the most viewed page on our mobile app on the farmer side. So I can say that I've brought value to them. Sitting in their home, just looking at the mobile app, they can see, okay, this is the rate going on, and they are forecasting in next 21 days this will be the rate. So should I, how much produce? It's a 21-day crop life cycle.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
should I do, how much should I produce? If it is going to go down, I can plan my produce like that. Right, I'll not produce that much, or maybe I'll do something else. So it enables decision making at farm, right? So the other thing is trend analysis, for example. One of the classic use cases we found was, after a while we realized that on the retail side, These retailers, right? If you go to Chickpet, a trader would walk in, or somebody would walk in, and he will tell these are the selections you can make, because the trader is
Yeah.
coming from Salem. He'll give him Salem saris, and he'll be like, okay, this is what sells. He'll just buy it. He doesn't have any insight on what the market wants. Next door, there might be a Manevar Mohe, which is selling yellow
Yeah.
and reds in bulk, right? But this guy doesn't have that collection, because he is relying on somebody, some trader who is giving him purples, but he doesn't have an
Yeah.
option, or he doesn't have any guidance for him, with him. Now, on our mobile app, if a retailer logs in, he sees trends. If you are sitting in Delhi, and you are in North Delhi versus South Delhi, which colors will sell, which butas in sari will sell, what
Oh,
prints will
wow.
sell?
Okay.
That data mining we have done, and on basis that data mining on our data plus socio-economic data that is available on the internet, we have built these trends and forecasting algorithms where we can tell you, boss, don't source purple. It is not going to sell. Source yellow,
Nice.
Basant is coming.
Nice.
Source red, there's Valentine's coming, right? So wedding season, these are the colors which will sell, or these are the designs which will sell. This will be in trend, not in trend. So these are the use cases we are solving with technology, with AI, ML, if you want to call it.
Nice.
But yeah,
Nice. And again, all of this is to obviously solve for the what you said at the start, which is give each stakeholder more value from the opacity of the other existing trade or supply chain, right? But at the same time, and you're finally doing this by also becoming a retailer yourself, which is similar to various other D2C brands today. I know D2C as a sector has also sort of exploded, right?
correct.
So, how have you sort of perceived that, once you now are a brand yourself, you also have, let's say, margins and competition with others in that space. So, how are you seeing that part of the business?
So for us, the D2C brand is an enabler for my B2B business. That's how I see it. I'll give you a very simple example. Right, when Big Basket, if Big Basket is there, earlier Big Basket used to sell eggs from Sukuna, right, or from some those
Yeah,
poultries.
the branded
Later
ones.
they
Yeah.
found, and they branded their own, and they got their own packaging and everything. I think that's the natural progression of business, how it works, right? So I know that these are the designs, or these are the motives, or these are the things which are selling, and my design team holds the IP for it. So now what I have done is I've launched the brand. I'll be selling directly to consumers as well, but whatever I sell or marketing I do for these brands, now anybody sitting in Gwalior, a Subhash Emporium sitting in Gwalior, will know that, okay, this brand, for example, Ramya by Resha Weaves, they have good saris. It is available directly to consumer, but my intent is also to sell it to him via my B2B mobile app,
Correct.
so he
Correct.
can
Yeah.
see the same saris and procure in bulk instead of procuring the retail is there. But I think our philosophy is that my D2C business will fuel my B2B business as well. That's the game plan we have.
Got it. So, I mean, my question was exactly around this, right? Is it conflict? Is it channel conflict in some ways? But I think what you're saying is you're enabling everyone anyway. So it's one more
Correct,
head of business for you.
correct.
Got it. So, you briefly mentioned that you obviously this is just the start on this grand plan that you all had initiated. And you also mentioned that it's only domestic in India today. What have you looked at outside, or what is the opportunity? What's the white space? And what is the vision now next, let's say, year and a half that you intend to go?
So I think, very valid question. One of the things that we have not done and we intended to do and want to do now is traceability and sustainability. Worldwide, I think there is a gap. EU or European Unions, US, everybody has become conscious about dumping and the carbon footprint your fashion also produces now, right? you
Yeah,
you
very
cannot just
much. Yeah.
dump, right? And with fast fashion it has increased a lot. So EU has
Correct.
already said, just like cars in US and Europe, they have said that every car manufacturer needs to have a model which is electric. Similarly, governments are dictating, unions are dictating that, oh, whatever apparel or textiles brand is having, they should have at least 30% of that inventory should be sustainable, traceable inventory, right? So those are mandates which are coming from the
Okay.
governments and unions worldwide, right? And I think it's a beautiful space for us to intervene. So if I talk to Zara or Zara, or I talk to Mango or anybody, the type of transparency and traceability in the supply chain that Resha Mandi can offer, no other player can offer. That's our pitch to the
Wow.
international markets, and that
Nice.
is what we want to do. So if you want us to have yarns made out of India, which, which farmer produced and which yarn manufacturer produced, was there a child labor involved in it? Was all the employees treated well or not? What dyes are used? Are the factories ESG compliant or not? So earlier brands did not have this visibility, right? They only had visibility only till the manufacturer level. They will tell the manufacturer, I need these white shirts. They will make those
Right.
white shirts and
Yeah.
ship it out. Now those manufacturers are working with us. We are giving them the fabrics. The fabrics that we are giving them, we know where the yarns came from, we know how the yarns were made. So our value proposition to these international brands is very simple. We'll give you sustainable natural fabrics, or products made out of natural fabrics which are traceable, and there is a complete transparency on that supply chain. So that's the pitch we are going into the international markets. That's one of the business areas we are focusing on, we are building. The second is we are going to scale our mudra business, the capital business, because there are regulatory authorities which are involved in the capital in India.
Of
So
course.
we are awaiting our license. Once we have our NBFC license and other licenses compliances in place, we are going to scale that, which will also have a ripple effect into my commerce business. So that's how we see.
Yeah, I think as a tech company today, it's hard to stay away from the fintech part of tech. So, like you said, you guys are already doing even that, and it's part of enabling the ecosystem, especially in India, I guess. Sort of as closing notes, for everyone listening in on this chat today, uh, what's the best way to, let's say, reach out to you or the team at ReshaMandi for any more questions, feedback? Are you guys scaling up your team? Are you hiring? Anything else you'd want to leave our listeners with today?
Absolutely. We are hiring. We are one of the few companies which are hiring in the
Yeah,
current scenario. So I would urge listeners, if they are interested in this supply chain and the work we are doing, reach out to us on careers.reshamandi.com. All our listings, approximately more than 100 openings are there on that platform. So apply there. In every sector stack, we have openings, starting from operation sales to technology to
wow,
fintech to everything, retail ops. We have openings. To reach out to us as Resha Mandi, we are available on our contact center. Our phone numbers are on our website. There are support emails. If you want to reach out to me, Mayank, and the leadership team, all of us are available on LinkedIn. I am always open to suggestions, questions, debates on LinkedIn. You'll get a reply 100% from me all the time.
wonderful.
So reach out to me.
Awesome, awesome. We'll be sure to share those coordinates. And for everyone listening in, thank you so much. Once again, if you've loved this episode, please leave us a rating and a review wherever you're listening to this. And there's a lot more coming up from Shunya One. We are actually, as part of our series, we are actually moving to a different sort of a format going forward. The next few episodes, I think you'll be seeing a lot more different kinds of themes and topics coming to our show. Maybe a lot of our speakers who have been with us before, but stay tuned for that. And sort of thank you so much for sharing the story of Resha Mandi, your story here today. It was really insightful, and of course, wishing you and the whole team lots of success going forward. And wherever we see the brand, I'm sure you're changing lives of so many people in the community. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. All the best, Unity team. Thank you.
Thank you so much.